back, ladies and gents.
Yeah. Indeed.
So if y'all didn't know, it's CES this week.
It is CES this week, and for those of you who don't know what CES is, it is the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yes,
it takes place every year in Las Vegas,
yes,
like the second week of January. And basically what it is where proprietors of consumer electronics come together to kind of show. A lot of it is what their plans are for this year. So a lot of it is an opportunity to get an early look at things that are coming out throughout this year, 2015. But also it tends to have a lot of future tech. A lot of times you see things that companies are working on, things that they're doing, but sometimes they're prototypes of things that you won't see for a couple of years or what have you. So while most of you probably have HD TVs and what have you, most of you probably do not have 4K TVs. 4K TVs, though, have been showing up at CES for like 4 or 5 years now.
Right.
But this year was like huge for
this year's
4K
gonna be the push
TVs.
for 4K TVs.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
And if y'all didn't know, we're heavily into gaming, as you obviously know, because you come to Loading Snacks.
Right.
But we are
tech.
Yeah, tech.
I love
junkies, tech heads, whatever you want to call it. That is
part of why I love gaming. Is because I love tech.
Getting your hands on new systems.
Hell,
like you said before, a new
tech.
Dashboard update.
Yeah.
Or a new it's Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, to us.
Like it's like getting a whole new system.
You know, new Dashboard came out. For real?
Hold on. Let me go get that.
Yeah, let me go download it real quick. We just really love tech. So CES, next to, I would
Gadgets.
say,
E3.
E3,
yeah.
CES is very, very huge, very, very big for us. So that's why we're excited about it. I hope you are. And
if you're not, we're going to give you some really good reasons to be excited
Yeah,
about it.
we're not just some of the things that we saw.
Yeah.
And they're still coming out.
Yeah, because it's not over just yet.
It's still going on.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a big week. And the week always starts with press conferences, which is not uncommon, but a lot of the big players. So there's the Samsung does a big press conference, LG, Sony. You even have
LG did one?
LG did one. Okay. Yep. I posted it to Loading Snacks. It's there. You can go and watch it. The whole thing is up on YouTube, so you can go there and check it out. So yeah, I mean, and we're not just talking, when we talk tech, we're not just talking about things like, cell phones or what have you. It's cars, it's appliances, so it's washing machines, it's refrigerators, it's literally
windows, mirrors.
Yeah, it's literally some of everything.
Yeah.
So
it's technology as a whole.
We're gonna cover a lot of tech. We're gonna talk about some things that are related to video games, but we just want to share some of the things that we have seen throughout the week so far that have intrigued us. One of which they're headphones. They're called headphones. I consider them a little bit more of a headset, but there's a company called, I want to say this right, Avegant. The Avegant Glyph. They look like really good quality, high quality headphones, almost like Beats or something like that. Provide stereo sound, what have you. What's different about them is the bar that normally would go across your head, you can actually pull them down and wear them in front of you like a visor on some Geordie LaForge. You know what I'm saying? It's like right? And it actually has 720p display in it. So you can have this headset, these headphones, connected to your MP3 player, your iPod, what have you, that has video and what have you, and it's literally like you're sitting in front of a screen, a movie screen. So it displays 720p display with an individual lens for each eye. It uses DLP technology to do that. So DLP technology has been around for a while. It's not something that's really being used in TVs anymore, but clearly they have found other uses for it. Now this wasn't the only one that I saw. There were a couple other companies that had very similar product to this one.
Overhead headset, and you can pull it down and watch movies and TV shows. And all that kind of stuff.
Just interesting in terms of what that means. We do tend to sit on a plane or on a bus or something like that. I don't know if I would use something like this on a bus, but if you're on a plane, you're taking a long trip or something like that, and you might
perfect for that kind of stuff.
Use your tablet or your phone or something to watch video or something that you have there. Being able to pull that down and kind of watch it right there and feel like you're watching a big screen.
No, that's the first thing I thought about. Just me and my wife traveling a lot. I was like, that's perfect just for that. Like when we're on a train, long trips overseas on a plane. Like, it is absolutely perfect for that. Or, hell, just at a resort. She reading a book. I'm just, boom, sitting on the beach, and I'm in my own world watching something, feeling the breeze. Like, it's perfect for that kind of stuff. So, like you said, there's a couple of them that we saw at CES this year. So, they're coming.
Pretty good. Now, something I want to touch on that I kind of find a little bit funny. Over the past few years, MP3 players have all but died. Like, they almost don't exist at all. I mean, people still, I guess pick up iPods for what I don't know. But MP3 players as a whole pretty much gone because of cell phones. I mean, cell phones have basically made MP3 players obsolete.
I still have one that I use, but yeah, I agree. Like, phones have pretty much run them out of business.
Right. But there were a lot of MP3 players. Now, these are not your regular run-of-the-mill MP3 players like you might normally see. These are considered high-end MP3 players. They are touted as being for audiophiles, for people who really, really know what audio is supposed to sound like. And in case you don't know, again, look, I'm a tech person. I'm also an audiophile to a certain extent, and MP3s don't sound good. They just don't. They don't sound as good as CDs. They don't sound as good as LP and vinyl. It's just a fact. It is what it is. But a lot of people don't even know what they're missing because we have generations of people who never had CDs or vinyl or what have you. So, interestingly enough, one of the standouts in this line was Sony is reintroducing the Walkman. So they created portable music.
And I was happy about that. Like, oh, they're bringing the Walkman back.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
It's an iconic brand. Like, we all grew up with Walkmans. Like, they're bringing back Walkman. Great. And then I scrolled down further.
What'd you see?
I saw the price tag of it.
And what was that?
Now, we're talking about an MP3 player.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
For $1,200 goddamn dollars. Once again, pardon my French. But what the fuck do you do for $1,200 and you're an MP3 player?
Alright, so listen, I'm going to tell you.
Now, I know it runs apps on Android. It runs on...
it's running Android 4.2.
Right, so you can download apps. You can run apps on it. Cool. I can get that on my phone.
It does play files that your typical MP3 player doesn't play. I mean, it plays it plays FLAC, it plays AAC, it plays files that if you're an audiophile, you know what that means. You know what kind of files you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the truth of it is what's supposed to be such a big deal about these particular MP3 players is that they are MP3 players that give you better than CD quality audio. That's the big thing. And that is why they're so expensive. Yes, MP3 players are old, but that's not necessarily something that's easy to do. Because if it was easy to do, then old MP3 players would have done it. iPods don't do that. So, I get it. I wouldn't pay for it, but yeah. So, that's really what the issue is. Now, there's also another one that kind of sprung up. It's called I want to make sure I get this right. The Pono. Could be Pono, but...
That was like the yellow one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the Pono player was actually kickstarted like last year. It does a lot of those same things. Difference being the price tag. Now, it's still $400, which in my opinion is a lot of money for an MP3 player. But it's almost like a resurgence. So it's kind of like, yep, when MP3 players originally came out, they were expensive like that. I mean, not quite that expensive, but they were expensive like that. So just, interesting. But when we talk price tags and things that we're used to paying for, that do things we're used to having them do, there is a standout. And it's an amazing standout. So, Lamborghini.
Oh my God,
has an Android phone. They have an Android phone.
Yes, they do. Lamborghini.
It's got some amazing bells and whistles. It's got a lot of power. It's got a lot of processing power.
And just like a Lamborghini, you're going to pay for all that bells and whistles and processing power.
It's got 24 karat. It's got real gold.
Yeah. So start getting your wheels turning.
Yeah, turn them. Because $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000. for a Lamborghini phone.
It's a lot of phones. Now listen, don't listen. I don't want you to think that, you know, there's a market for this, or they wouldn't make them.
Very true. But it's not for people like us.
Not yet. Not yet.
We'll get there.
Not yet.
But not right now.
If I had $6,000 to blow on a phone, I'd probably find something better to blow $6,000 on than a phone.
Now, just so you know, it does come with a very nice ass box type of thing.
Is the box the best thing about it? Maybe
so. Maybe like it does come with a really nice, like I'm going like cushions and like nice ass box. And they give you a pair of I don't know what kind of headphones they are. Yeah. But they didn't mention that they were $200 headphones that they come with.
That's a small chunk of $6,000. I'm just saying.
It is.
That's $200 is a small chunk of $6,000.
Whew.
I know we're talking about Lamborghinis. I just want to say I know people who have cars that aren't $6,000. Like they have cars that aren't $6,000.
Very true. Very true.
That's a lot of fun. But look,
you drop that thing, you be mad as hell.
Yeah. Now I hope it comes with a really good plan. At the least, really good plan. So one of the other things that we've seen that kind of stands out, and this is not necessarily new, even specifically to CES, are VR headsets, virtual reality headsets. There were a lot of virtual reality headsets. One of the standouts, as it has been over the past couple of years, has been Oculus, with the Oculus Rift. Now, Oculus has gone through some changes. They went through some major changes last year as Oculus was purchased by Facebook.
Right.
For a large chunk of money, and there was a lot of controversy because there were people who, it was originally Kickstarted, there were a lot of people who donated to it and felt like, you know, they weren't, you can't let the big corporation come in, and nonetheless, it pretty much guarantees that the money they did put into it, they're going to get their product, which doesn't happen a lot of times with Kickstarter for whatever reason. So they were there, but more interesting, at least personally, than what Oculus was doing was something called OS VR, which is open source virtual reality, open source VR, where this particular headset is literally open source. They are making it so that anyone who wants to design virtual reality software for this headset can. And that's always great because it pushes what the applications are. I mean, as gamers, we always think in terms of what it can do for us as gamers, and we tend to see that it's on display and used for games, right? And there have been some pretty cool applications for different kinds of games. But once you go open source, once you give anybody the opportunity, even if they hack it to make it happen, you begin to see applications pop up, like you kind of did with the original Kinect, where they're using them in hospitals. They're using them for things that even the original creators didn't necessarily intend or didn't see or didn't expect. And that, to me, is how you get the most out of new technology, is you let people who don't have the same vision that you have because their circumstances are different tinker with it and come up with something. So that, I thought, was huge. I think that's a big deal.
I think that's major for VR.
Absolutely.
I'm not a fan of VR.
It'll probably make you throw up.
In the slightest. Like, the VR does nothing to me. Now, maybe once I put it on my hand and I actually see it with, like, something in my hand, I might feel different. But for right now, it's like, I just come and go like we motion controllers did. Like, let's just... I get it. I get why it's here.
Right.
But, like, we need to see where tech has come, where we're going. Like, you know, I completely understand it. It's not tickling my fancy whatsoever.
My fancy's a little tickled. But just a little. I mean, again, I'm interested in it because it's new and it's tech. And when you...
I want to try it because I'm a tech head.
It's just, you know, the feedback has been so positive. If the feedback wasn't positive, then I'd be like, we did this already. It was Virtual Boy. That was whack. It didn't work. But that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you know,
it's time to try it again.
When VR was hot, but nobody could actually do it. You know what I mean? And now we have computers that have more than enough computing power to make it happen.
Right.
Now, what's crazy about that is that even though we had a lot of major companies that had great presences at CES because it's a big deal, there was no Morpheus, no Project Morpheus.
Not at all.
Didn't see anything in terms of VR from Sony. So that was really interesting because at least at the game shows and so forth the last
year,
press
conference. It didn't say nothing about it whatsoever.
Not a single solitary word was mentioned. Now, obviously they could just be holding on to it like, you know what, this is a little bit of a different show. We're really focusing on gaming with Morpheus, which could be the case. So E3. Yep.
Right, maybe.
But I still think it's interesting because a lot of times when you see what's going on at CES, it kind of is a highlight, not just for consumers but for investors and things like that. They want to see what they have coming down the pipeline. Sony's been having some trouble.
Yes.
As a company, we know. Yeah, we talked about them kind of cutting back on TVs a bit and cutting back on cell phones a bit so they could focus on PlayStation. But one of the other things they said they were going to focus on were things in that nature, like the VR or kind of headset kind of thing. And so to not see anything was just a little bit strange to me.
Yeah. Didn't say nothing about that. But
and then at the same time,
they dropped the $1,200 Walkman.
Right.
Just
it just is a little strange.
Hear what you're saying? Just sending different messages to CES. Just saying.
I want you to be successful. So I hope that's not a mistake. That $1,200 Walkman. I'm also slightly concerned about whatever it is they're not telling us is going to be proprietary. Man, if that thing needs a memory stick, I'm gonna be steaming.
I don't think it does, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it's not. But there might be some proprietary software.
I could have sworn they said there's a side for SD card slot up the storage, so hopefully. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So Sharp. Not a huge fan of Sharp, but they do make some great stuff. One of the things that they had these shapeless LCD screens.
Yes, they did.
What I mean by that is that they were literally like, traditionally you see an LCD screen and it's square or it's rectangular, and that's pretty much all it is. But they were able to make LCDs in essentially any shape you wanted.
Yes.
And the way that they were showing them off, they were showing them in circles and things like that, but they were also basically showing them as like
dashboards for your car.
Yeah, like dashboard HUDs and things like that. Yeah. It was really, really cool, really interesting, and basically edgeless. So, again, typically when you think about something like that, an LCD, you think about the box that's around the screen itself. It's usually not just the screen or whatever. There's a bezel or something, and these are like no bezel, just kind of sitting there. Now, they were not touch screens, but the applications exist to make them touch screens.
Right.
So that was just something that kind of stood out, very interesting, really, really cool.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. One of the things that blew me away with 2015 CES and shit.
Now, Samsung, again, 4K TV, major push. LG, Samsung, Sony, Panasonic, you name it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's pushing it.
Yes. This year's the year for UHD/4K TVs.
Now, Samsung has decided to go with the S UHD.
Which I heard that the S doesn't mean a damn thing, but according to you, it does.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah. So,
so
basically, what it is, no, it doesn't stand for Samsung. It doesn't stand for Samsung. Basically, what it is S is basically a designation that Samsung gives to products that they have that they consider to be above the standard mark. So, if you think in terms of like the Galaxy S.
Oh, my.
That's basically what it is. So, like the Galaxy S line is different from just the Galaxy line.
Got it.
What have you. So the S moniker, it's almost like in racing. When you're playing a racing game or whatever, you want that S rank. You don't want the A rank. You don't want the B. You want the S rank. You perfect.
Gotcha.
That's basically what it means. So the SUHD is just that it has a lot of great bells and whistles. Milk VR. Like there's a ton of great stuff that they're doing with it. Matter of fact, they got a 65-inch that will curve. It can be flat or curved at the push of a button. You can, if you want it curved, you can make it curved. That's what S means.
Hey, that thing gotta come in my
living
room. That thing gotta come in my living room this year somehow, some way.
That means make your TV curved.
Woo!
Yeah.
Of course.
For any questions, any feedback, any comments, any hate mail, what have you, You can definitely hit me at gage.loadingsnacks@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Empty Shells, MTSHELLZ. Instagram is the same. Don't forget to follow Loading Snacks on Twitter. Yes. Just at Loading Snacks. By all means, hit us up. Give us your feedback. Drop something in the comments for us. Like, share, and follow, please.
Yes.
Sin?
Yeah, you can hit me on Xbox Live or Instagram with the same thing, Sincere 619. You can email me at sin.loadingsnacks@gmail.com. True. And you can always hit us on the Facebook page, as we said, it's Loading Snacks at Facebook. Yep. So leave comments,
please
subscribe.
We'll get back to you.
Emails.
Yes, indeed.
Everything under the sun. We're looking for. Please. So enjoy y'all week. We'll be back next week.
You on that.